I have good news. I want to thank, first I want to thank Torah Anytime. And I want to thank Rabbi Yosef Yafi, Yehida Tzaddik. And I want to thank Kav Hashgacha Pratis. And I want to thank Kol HaLoshen. And I want to thank the Rabbeinu Shalom. We have good news, Rabbi say. Bטחון Hotline. We want to thank Bטחון Hotline, not Stam. Somebody asked me, you're speaking tonight? Is Galumba going to be there? Is he? So, have a seat. On a high, I'm flying all over the place. You know that the Rambam was Hasidic. Definitely. He's the one Rishon that says, you may simcha v'halal. No? I think there's one more that I know of. He's the one, they simcha v'halal, but azam is simcha. Anyway, so just simcha Baruch Hashem, we got a new Jack. Thank you so much for Jack. I want to thank this Chashva Yid who understands. He's Aymer al-Das Rabbi. Says it takes 40 years to be Aymer al-Das Rabbi. And he chopped me right. He got Fashteit the Rebbe. And he bought me a Jack right away. Good person. And what do I want to say? Anyway. Yeah. You know that. How much do you believe in the power of Hanukkah? Are you going to be a new person? Is anything going to change in your life over Hanukkah? Are things going to start happening? But you're so frustrated all your life. I was on the phone today with somebody, Nebuch, crying. He cries, Nebuch. He puts up a good front. He's a great guy. He went through a lot. And he has problems, whatever. He holds himself back from crying. And I daven. He davens. Tell me how much. I'm afraid of my horror. How much you daven? Well, tell me. I'm afraid of it. Me, you can tell. An hour a day. Regularly. This is a malach. By the way, I will tell you, I noticed from this person, like all of us, I didn't want to be mean. The person tells me, I'm not getting what I want, Okay. There are so many nisim going on with this person. That person don't chop. This person, it goes over your head. So many good things happening. Oh, you just said this. Oh, as we're talking, I'm finding out more. And another mifus happened, another mifus. Someone who davens an hour a day gets a different treatment. However, I recommended this person to make. So why aren't they getting okay? And they're all stressed, and they're all this, and they're all angry. And I says, I don't daven an hour a day, but I recommend an hour a day of Bטחון. You hear what I said? I hope Reb Sholma Rush is not hearing what I'm saying. I once had an argument with him.
Why does a person who forgets all the nisim say Rachmon, he gets the daven for nisim, and the person who doesn't? The person who doesn't forget doesn't have to daven.
Not bad. Very good. Very good. Beautiful. Beautiful. Rabbi Burstein, beautiful. Yavaldik, the one with Bטחון, the daf, he doesn't think that's beautiful. Now, I have Bטחון, and I forget also. It's a balamailas. The kid said, I was saying. Now, I had a talk with him. And he told me that, by the way, Reb Sholma Rush is a yid that's not stam. He's in the Breslov Olam, he is the man. He's a wonderful person, and he's into Bטחון. But he told me that to get Bטחון, you got to daven. I say, I learned Musa. He said, no, you got to daven. I went to my Rebbe, Rabbi, and he said, no. You learn Musa. And I know it works for Rabbi, but so people are different. We came to the conclusion, I told this Rabbi Arush later on, while you learn Musa, you daven together. Make a sandwich. It's Gan Eden. Do it all. So I told this person, spend an hour a day. You're putting an hour with the Abish to spend that hour working on b'tachon, relax. This person has such stresses. My wife is doing this and my kid's doing that. It drives me nuts. See, I'm davening. You see, I want to tell you something about tefillah. Now I'm going to tell you big yesod. When you daven, you came to this world to daven or to break your midas? What's more important? And you can't say anything's more important than tefillah. But the guy says, adam shviras hamidas, v'mla b'lam aleichayim. They all say it. Midas is everything. Everyone knows that. You'll see. You know how many people who do hispida this, or people who live in learning, and people who live in chesed, and they're all tzahak the tzaris. They daven all day, tzahak the tzaris. But the man who's into b'tachon is not of tzahak the tzaris. There's a ma'aser with the mashgiach of Nike Yeshiva, Rabbi Forst, I think his name was. Somebody had a gefal, a pekel with his wife, Hashem Yerachim, a physical. She wasn't well. He went through Sheva, through Gehenim. And he told him, take a shar b'tachon every day and learn it for an hour. And did he have nisim gluim? Did his life turn around? Despite his pekel, he was spent all day in Gehenim with his Nabuch. His wife had a debilitating disease, whatever, it was a pachad. He spent an hour a day with B'tachon. He had nisim gluim all over the place. I think she couldn't have kids. Suddenly she had a kid. All kinds of, it's crazy. B'tachon, ain't davar imlefnei b'tachon. Sit and chill out. Zay freilach. More b'tachon, more. Sit there. But I'm not learning b'tachon. How long? 5 minutes a day. Now, I can't make away with that. I was once given over the head. He's not here now. He used to come to the Vad. He listened. He's listening now. Tired of younger man. He told me, you know why the Elam can't go along with you? He used to say an hour a day, leave the guys alone. If you said 10 minutes, you'll have some followers to your religion, to your Hasidus over here. You're going to say an hour. You killed them. You're hitting him over the head with a Bible. What do you want for the poor guys? An hour. And he's right. So I'm careful. But if you're davening already for an hour, if you're one of those, put that time in the b'tachon. You want to be in Gan Eden, you'll say goodbye to all your peklach. Say goodbye. There's no pekel. People have b'tachon are pekel free. Sit out the hour. It's not easy. Sit out the hour. You'll be a new person. I once told Rabbi Miller, we were once in a Vad with Rabbi Avigdor Miller Zeichet Tzadik L'Bracha here in Lakewood. We had a Vad with 15 in the light. We're sitting around together. Those days Lakewood was much smaller. He didn't come. It was a hookup. It lasted 2 weeks, I think. Then he said, I have to do whatever. Didn't last. There's a lot to learn from that. At a Vad in Lakewood, a big island. He wasn't the spoil. That's so important. You know what? Whatever reason, you're not in this bowl, a big crowd waiting for you. You don't become bottle to see. They're all looking at you. They all need you. Don't kill me shit over here. He was a Chavos Havavos man, Avigdor Miller. Chavos Havavos does not believe in being this bowl for people. Crowds don't scare them. He wasn't into that whole people. He said and she said this, that. He's good impression. Rabbi Miller did not fall for that stuff. Anyway, it's not easy. It's a big job. Had to be this bold. Anyway, but he. L'chaim. I'm finished up halten Jack. Jack Vat. Jack Bulmazol Masakan Zain. Amen. Bakar Mamish Hakal Baralach Veda, some Shidduchim, for all the boys who are all over the all Acheva and all everybody.
And I just remind what you were saying.
Yeah.
As I said last night.
Right. Right. Right.
It's not you. There's mission and miftach because Hashem is a support for those who have b'tachon. When Hashem is Hashem is going to be your support the whole time. Not that you're just calling out to Hashem when you need it.
Beautiful. Very nice. Beautiful. Beautiful. Anyway, were you holding what Rabbi Melech? If I got the help to do.
The middle was telling me the Vad.
The Vad. What did he say in the Vad? He said, make a Kabbalah for 2 minutes a day. It's whatever the Kabbalah was. And somebody mentioned, how about it? An hour of this stuff. He went, not shaykh. You do that for an hour. You'll remember it for the rest of your life. He was fire. An hour of Musa. Wow. Wasn't Pashat. He was a spoil. He didn't tell him to do that. But when someone brought up the concept, I don't remember what it was, but the volume of time makes a Rishon sits on you. Now you got it. This, 10 minutes. Let's go flying here and there. Don't make away with 10 minutes. I know a younger man, 5-10 minutes a day, learning Sha'ar B'tachon for years. His whole financial situation turned around Moshe Kapaya. But he told me that it was a springboard. I've spoken about this fellow. He used to get up 5 times a night with heart palpitations because he couldn't pay for his house. A big Ben Torah lives in learning about smothered abigets, what I get schmack. But B'tachon is something else. So he became a B'tachon weekly enthusiast. He started, became a Zoy, and slowly but surely. So do an Eibishter, by the way. Now that you finished with Shas, let me introduce you to the Rabbeinu Shalom. That's exactly what happened over here. I mean, he's a riesiger Ben Torah, Zis like anything, a sweet, heilige younger man. But B'tachon, so his life turned around. So first he started getting Hashbaz Tavis here and there, but so a year and a half later, one day his uncle calls him up, from now on I'm supporting you. And that was it, with the geld. And then his wife couldn't have kids, so she already had 9 kids, I don't know how many, but she wasn't allowed to eat her head. See, that's no problem with me. His wife had a kid, and without paying, and then they didn't have money for Shalom Zacha, so he davened Eibishter want. Eibishter Ken, he wanted a fleshiger, he wanted a fleshiger meal for the bris, and he needed up to 2,000. That's what he needed. As soon as he davened, he looked up. Within 5 minutes, he had 8 telephone calls with geld until he had more than he needed after he davened. And when he told me a story on the phone, his wife yells, "No, there were 9 people." Because he became a Rebbe. He does things. I look at him, wow. He got the Eivish into his life. Look what he did over here. The Torah is on the Torah. The Shas is on a different Shas. You're Rangaton and Rabbeinu Shalom. The Var Hashem Bozer, Rabbeinu used to say. He didn't say the Blatt Gemara Bozer. Var Hashem Bozer. It's the Eibishter that you can say the Eibishter. Anyway, I'm going to tell you a story. Yeah. I'm going to tell you a story. The Alter von Navadik tells over. King. This is Shitas Navadik. I want to tell you something. I want to open up the whole sugya. We're looking to bring back Navadik. I'm getting phone calls all over the place. And there's groups being formed. They want the older. What are we supposed to do with Navadik? We're fighting at them. It would be a great idea for you to make a joke out of it all day long. People are dead. they're cute. The Shalamayas, and my wife yelled at me. The kids, the Nachas, and the kids, and the Panusa. Now, in Nevada, they made jokes out of all this stuff. They just laughed at it. And if you learn to laugh at Olam Hazeh, that's the only time you'll enjoy living in this world. You take Olam Hazeh serious, you're in trouble. A Baal B'tachon is not serious about Olam Hazeh. He's not. You know how many people I have to tell on the phone? And I feel guilty saying I did it yesterday, 2-3 people. The same nusach. I see what they need. I get a phone call, Rabbi Mendel, and from people, you're Shemaim. I honor them, and I have no choice with them. Stop being serious. Chill out. Get that ice cream. Rabbi Miller used to say, eat cake. Get that ice cream, cut it out. So this happened, he yelled at you. Chill up, don't be errant. Stop being serious. I tell my favorite story, the Arab on top of the roof. You know what I said? The Arab is an Arab on top of a mica in Kiryat Sefer. I heard this from an Eidriyah. And the Arab was supposed to pull up a dud shemesh with a rope. And to pull up he hired him, the Yid hired him, and he got up on the 8th floor, and he's standing on the mica. And he starts pulling the dud shemesh. And they're watching him, and my friend, he's a dying there, and he says he sees the Arab is more in the street than in the mic. It was crazy. Like, are you serious what you're doing here? So he tells his friend, tell you, he's got a mat. In Arabic, it's mat. Mace, mat. Atamat! He yells at him. So the Arab looks back at him. No, mat. What do you want? Stop it. Let's get your side. Let's get your side. What are you getting so excited over? Mat. I know somebody had pain, and he conquered it with this. He kept saying, thank you for the pain. You say it. You have a big power with your mouth. There's your fellow. Okay, have some pain. You keep saying it, and it'll stop bothering you. You'll be a happier person when a guy without pain. You brainwash yourself long enough. Anyway, then my other favorite story is the guy in the plane with the turbulence. They thought the plane was going to crash, and this lady is screaming hysterically, and the plates were flying all over the place, and you hear shattered glass and zafela. Halchain by Tazang Vidui. It's over. And this guy's standing there, and he's busy drinking his Jack or whatever he had there in his hand. The lady in front of him is twitching, hysterics, and he doesn't like her twitching. And he says, hey, lady, can you let a guy enjoy his last highball? This guy's serious, huh? So I tell these are my favorite stories. You got to be like those guys. Don't worry so much. And people asked. I said, do you know what he said to me? Did he mean that? What he said, and she said, and everybody saw when I was doing kach v'kach. I made a bracha under the chuppah, and I made the wrong bracha. If I'm a Novanega, that's exactly what I try to do. Oh, thank you so much for correcting me. Anyway. So Rabbi says, so what I'm saying, your Olam Hazeh, you're into a covet especially, ruins your Olam Hazeh. The ultimate Novanega Sefer, they say, was a guide to living in Olam Hazeh. How do you like that one? A guide to living in this world. So I was thinking about the telephones. I used to be a telephone. My father had it in for telephones. I never got. The lady he used to have a war he didn't like. He had ups with telephones. They say Reb Chaim Kanevsky he never used it. Reb Yashiv also not so much. All right, whatever. So I'm getting phones. My track record is I get 15 calls in the span of 5-10 minutes. And then an hour goes by and nobody calls me. This is what's going on in my life. And have complaints so Shemayim. You never answer. You never answer. And so I said, okay, let me answer. And I start dialing. And all the guys who call me, the guy was on, like, I don't know, he called me 5 times. So he looks like and he calls. In fact, I have a guy right here. I have a guy right here tonight. Please call me immediately. And he called me from 2 different numbers. It's urgent. So, okay, I came home. I called him twice. No answer. All the emergencies, no answer. So, what's going on here? And the guy, he had an emergency. By the way, I will tell you that a lot of emergencies, wait a day, call him the next day. Everything okay? What? Why? How come you're calling me? No, I don't know. Well, didn't you call me yesterday for an emergency? Oh! Shlomo Melech had a ring. On the ring it said, Gam ze yavar. You know that. Wherever he passed, Zog sich nicht. Gam ze yavar. You know the stipler, they say, he never went to a doctor. He said if he would have gone to a doctor, he would have been dead a long time ago. When something went wrong, he said, all right, it'll blow over. Watch it blow over. You have no idea. Okay, anyway. So people, it'll pass, but people get so excited. We have a new jack. Covered Hanukkah, the first day of Hanukkah. Thank you so much. And so anyway, I'm getting all depressed. I'm not saying it's so true, what I'm saying, but I want to sound exciting. I'm getting very depressed. An hour? Not one phone call? I'm used to 15 phone calls, When my Adam comes to visit me, he sees what a great sphere I am. Excuse me. Oh, yes. Well, I'll get back to you soon. And it clicks again. Yes. Oh, I'll be with you soon. Yeah. You want to get covered? Sit on a phone all day and show everybody. The whole world needs me. You ever see these people, they go and they stick it in their ears and they walk around all day. They misbaited them. I don't know who they're misbaited with the guy on the phone. They walk around all day talking. Were you talking to me? Oh, I'm sorry, you're on the phone. No. And there's no telephone. There's something in his ear, and it works. It's unbelievable. I think it's a covered issue. That's what I say. I wanted to talk a little bit about the telephone business. Until I got 100 phone calls a day, I never got depressed over a telephone. But now that you're getting so many calls and I'm at the moment nobody's calling, I know for a fact there are very big public figures, Rabbanim, who are very depressed because no one's calling them. Nobody's calling me. Nobody likes me. I know spouses where the husband, my wife's, everyone, all the calls are for her. And then there's other ones where the other way, the lady says, oh, everyone always calls you and nobody likes me. So,
the whole social media, everyone checks every second, seeing people like them. Liking someone.
Yeah, you like me, you don't like me, you like me, you like me. They once found all for the boss, J.J. Herman, Zecher Tzadik B'Bracha. They found him, his daughter found him sitting on the floor in the house, I'm not sure. He was crying. He says, what's the matter, Papa? He said, does the boss like me? Are you worried? Anybody worried about that? Well, he likes you. This one, like, what is he able to? How is he? How's your relationship with Hashem? Anyway, so when you get used to something, you're in trouble. You get chicken with covered. You're used to it. You get more of it. Not so simple, I'm a high-risk Rebbe. I do things I'm not this far from nobody. A bracha? Yes! Definitely lately, I have a standard nusach. I just did it tonight. At least 2-3 times. People call me. Guarantee you, Yeshua Gemara. The guy could be holding by saying Vidui. I'm not impressed. I don't care. Shua Gemara, and you must call me to tell me I was right. Because there's no suffix, I'm right. I do this all the time. By the way, I'm talking right. It's not pushing. But when I first started doing it, how do you do that? What if you're wrong? So because in my world, if they ain't raving over you, and they decide you're not such a big Bamleifus, it's a glick. Having Chassidim, my Rebbe Rabbi said, this is nicht good for euch. Having Chassidim, you need that stuff? What do you need that for? You have to have Chassidim? You have to be popular? What do you have to be? You know, I was once honored. And Rabbi Fulmer let me have it. He hated covet. When they honor you, you're in a spoil. They need you. They want next to get tugged. You ever see these Gevirim? They go through Gehenna. Gevirim have a life. Does anybody like me? It's my money. Do I have one friend? All the big Gevirim. You think it's easy to be a Gevir. They don't trust nobody. Anyway. They're big tzaddikim for the b'zaynis that they get. No? I'm serious. I hold a velt for Gevirim. I go to them with a feeling of Rachmanis. Whenever I see Gevirim, oh, you're never one of those. Gevirim. The Chavis always tells you to have Rachmanis on. Have Rachmanis, he's never flying all over. Baruch Hashem, or a man, I'm doing, I don't know, the whole world knocking him and they're making me sugar. Anyway, so when you're into the telephone can be a covered object. And it could give you a lot of aggravation. When you're running after the phone, and this guy called, this guy didn't call, and they like me to. Kids, I wanted to say ha'ara. The Alta and the Vadik's vote. If the other wants to get together, they have the phone problem, how do you work on it? That's what Nevada used to do. They would take a thing like this, how do we deal with this? Or you're going to go to a certain place where you're not politically correct. They don't really hold from you so much over there. You're one of the other type that doesn't fit in. Now, some of the Vadics would plant themselves in such a place. Kommt da rein, Rabbi Pam, kommt da rein, kommt da rein. And I mach the famous. Mach Platz, okay. Anyway. Any room? No room? Did you hear that Torah anytime? There's no room. See that? Now you know who I am. 1 second, just in case. Anyway, let's move. Rik the tish. Anyway, so they would get together to decide how do you work on it. There's a whole recipe to deal before Reb Gershon went to New York. I was watching it. He was waiting for a car, and they took him for a ride deep into the forest in his own private base Abdidas, because tomorrow he's going to New York, and he's going to spend all night learning Musa, to learn to hate covet, and not being a spoil. He's going to a strange country, New York, and I'm just a French, New York, and has to collect money yet, and how to deal with this and with that. So what he did there, I don't know, but I'm going to my shver. Oh, okay. I'm going to my shver. What are you going to do? Busy fight with your shvaga, or be busy with your kind of issue with whoever it is over there, or whoever cheppers you over there. Wherever you go, you're going to a chasana. There's an opportunity for growth. And you have to look. I know some people, I know younger man. I once did a big chesed for somebody. He did not fit in with the in-laws. He was like a very simple, pashut person. And they were a bunch of sharp chavra. And his shver was Punkt, the big Rosh Yeshiva. And the shvogers were ganze knackers, Rosh Chaburers. And he was barely making it, such a type. And I remember I davened very hard for him. They had a lot of aggravation. Every time he had to go to the in-laws, it was Gehenna. Yeah, I don't fit in with those people. So I put him on his feet a little. I made him talk. He got up there and he spoke well, and they respected him and they liked him. And that's one eitzah. And there's other eitzahs. Not you learn Musa while you're there. You talk to the Yevishter. What are you? You'll be machabed everybody. You look down at them. Right now they're elephants and you're a mouse. So that's why you sit there every time, and your wife is all depressed because my husband is a nebuchal and she doesn't fit. She doesn't learn Musa. If she learned Musa, she'd be so happy being married to a nebuch. That's the biggest glick in the 11. to be married to. What do I care what this one says? And she married the top guy, and Hisko married the anchor boy who's not such a big dus. And if you're an Novandiga lady, you'd love it. This is what I want. Some Bazianus, what do I care what my sister-in-law thinks? She's got other peklach I don't want to hear about. Baruch Hashem, I don't have covered. Keep it. He just got a Stella. Now you're going to find out what life's all about. I spoke recently in a place. I said, all these big names, these big Rosh Hashitas, that are on Gdolim pictures, they have a views you don't know about. You wouldn't want to be in their shoes. Much worse than you. Rav Nosson once told us to a bacha. This bacha Nebuch was a medication for being nervous. He was Nebuch, not well. He became violent. They said things about him, wasn't pashut. And he used to speak to me a lot, this bacha. And he once told me, he went to the mashkiach, and he said, the Elam is mavazim, they're not Gerspe. Mashkiach looked at him, yeah, the mavazim much more than you. He does, Mashkiach. But Mashkiach knew how to live at this. Mashkiach learned Musa. When you learn Musa, see what Bazianus is, just lost your head. Learn Musa. We got to get Musa for him on Bazianus. That's not Shaykh. And not to have kinna, all that stuff. Kinna is ridiculous. What's the kinna? What this guy will say, that guy will say. I told you the Maisa with the guy. Rabbi Bahela told me this. It's a great story. I repeat it a lot. It's one of my best. He knows a younger man, I believe in Lake Wataka, who can't sleep at night. He's going with sugar. Why? Because he has his friend, a star, 300 bachrim in his yeshiva. He's knocking, and he has nothing, and he eats himself up for years. And his wife and him, just look at you and look at him, manage. And the guy, Lipa Hella, told me this. The guy that he's Makana, 7 years ago, lost 16 Bachrim to a different Maggid Shia because they liked his Shia better than his. And since that day, he don't sleep at night. And whoever comes to his yeshiva, he has some 2,000 questions. Why did you come to me? Why did you go to him? How come the brother's not coming to my Maisid? He's a basket case. He's a nervous wreck. This is the guy that you're Makana on. He's the guy with the 300 Bachrim, and you're going out of your kalim with kinna. The Welt envy is ignorance. You're crazy. What's else to kinna? You don't chop. You know what's really going on with this guy. Be happy, whatever the ABC gives you. Anyway, let's get back to this. I want to just say how we have to go to war against Elam Hazan. I'll tell you why. A lot of things. I tell you, my hat almost killed me. Where's my hat? My hat is still getting me nervous. My nervous. You want it? Yeah. I got myself a new. Someone got a hold of me. He didn't like my hat. He says, Mendel, you doesn't pass. Get yourself a new hat. Here's my new hat. Anyway, you don't like it. It's inside. Anyway, so no, I passed that stage. I don't do that anymore. I know I'm a Rashi, but my hat doesn't. But the old one, I have to find it. I don't know what happened to it. Anyway, so I got a new hat. As soon as I got the new hat, I used to walk around with this old hat like, Mishmak. This hat, 1 second. Watch the way you hold it. That's how you ruined the other one. The guy at the hat store explained to me. You didn't hold it right. That's why you got messed up. Oh, okay, so this hat, I'm already, wait, you gotta hold it. Wait. And as soon as it's drizzling a drop, my hat. So you want to ruin your Elam Hazeh? Buy yourself nice hats. Buy yourself fancy suits. You want to kill your Elam Hazeh? The lady should buy fancy jewelry so they can sit that night. Who's going to take my jewelry, right? So you can kill all your sleep and kill everything. Buy a big house, and then you're worried for the neighbors. And do they tell you getting enough covered for your house so that the people appreciate that you have the nicest house in town, or they're making fun of me because I'm one of those, whatever it is. The kids, the Novandigas laugh. There's a certain chassidus when in that chassidus you buy a hat, and that's it. Ad mea ve'etzim shana. You buy that hat, you stay with it. Mine afkamina. Mind up, Kavita, stay with that. And they are known to be the happiest chassidim you ever met. I'm serious. They are the happiest, without the hat business. The guys who are, wait, now you have to be a mensch. You have to look. Now, Rabbi said, please, you do have to be a mensch. I don't want to get in trouble. In fact, I'm also a little bit, into being half normal. I'm also believing in being the mal, Stishken Aveda. But I just want to be Ma'eda. The Novhardok Yeshit, they did not go for this business. They played their cards well. Rabba once told me that's all. You got to play your cards, you got to do your shtick and still be normal. And Novhardok used to say, Shvaras Achavis, Ushmaras Yena. Smash the barrel, and you got to watch the 1 year old. And you could do it. You could be a normal guy and still have your shtick, and it could work. You have to have your seichel. You have to know when and where and how and what, whatever you're doing. Anyway, that's a call for the Hanukkah Masiba. He's probably going to want me to. So far, it's Monday. I don't know, you can call him, I don't know. This is Zevi Strauss. Call Zevi Strauss, officially 8 to 9, Monday, but check it, double check. Monday in our Kyle. We have a Novhardok Kyle. Where's that? On 8th Street? Am I right? Are you in touch with him? He's calling me now. And I can't answer him now. I'm in the middle of my drasha. Yeah, so far that's what it told me. Okay, whatever. We're going to be knocking. Whoever comes to our Hanukkah Masiba and eats one bite of latke, muftach loy, alle glicken in the Welt. Our latkes are Kodesh Kedoshim. By the way, anybody who eats latkes in Hanukkah, I'm avtiachim alle brachas in the world. And I'm serious about it. I'll prove it to you in a second. Let me ask you something. How come it says, the Gemara in Makkah says, rak chazak, and don't eat blood. What's the lashon over there? What? There's a lot of lavin, but the one that Gemara picks on, there's a lot of lavin for dam, loads of them. A lot of lavin for eating blood. Again, we have to tell you again, don't eat blood. The Torah has to keep telling you. You need to tell me that so many times? What's going on here? How many lavin? 5? It's a lot. A lot of lavin for blood. And this, the one, the Rav Chazak, the Gemara there says how the Yebish, the one, wants to be Mezaki you. So he tells you not to eat blood, even though Nafshi Shalom Kotzim Imenu, even though it's disgusting. Now I have a kasha for the Yolim. Why does it, the Gemara picks that pasuk, the Rav Chazak, be strong. Be strong. And don't eat, coach, self-control. Don't eat that blood. What's going on here? And the Chazal say, things that you can't stand, you're going to get schar for not eating it. So Kolshkein, here's a lot of rayas that you want to do, you get schar. What's going on? You have anybody in Torah? Chazak, what's a chazak? Okay, anyway. What did he say? What did he say? Right.
That's why you should eat.
Very, I love this. Listen, if you hit that butter, it's so delicious, Baron. You gotta love brisket after that. You hear what they said? It's delicious. The chazak is the what? The Torah, what?
You don't want to eat it. Don't eat it.
Don't eat it. Yeah, isn't that delicious? They're good. They're great. What?
We can also say that a person has bechira, choose in his mind, and
right.
Then there's the lamaisa.
Right.
There's a bezut avoida. Even if you're holding by doing the lamaisa, but to choose in your mind not to do it. That's there alone.
Now, really?
Right.
But what do you need chizik for? Okay, anyway, I have to say my shuttle over here. I want to say, you're getting schar for things like this. And the Torah loves us to pieces. If you can get schar. If you eat a water bug, you get 4 lavin. But malchus, am I right? Of course. A barrier, you get a full 39 wax for one whole water bug. 4 times you're going to be embezzled. They're going to whip you ad moves. Come on. That's when they stop the malchus. Am I right? They give you till you're atot. And then you sit in the hospital a couple of months and you recover. And then they bring you back again. Now you got to get another one. 4 of those shots. Mr. Halba, after that, boy, you've had it. The whole Kaiche state in the Gemara. When you give malchus, you give him. No? That's a din. And, that's the water bugs are the. Those are the cheap guys. Those are not real serious, How about an ant? There you get 5 malchus. How's that? 5 times, 39 times each. And you really want to be a cheverman, go eat a fly. A fly, you get 6. Come on. You have to warn me so many times and scare me with 6 malchus not to eat a disgusting fly. I need that. Not to eat a mosquito. I need that. They're going to write on my kevel achamevesim. Oh, yeah, tired of Elachiyid. He never ate mosquitoes. He never ate hornets and bugs. And he never ate worms. Atzadik. Anyway, so the teretz is that Hashem loves us. And Hashem wants us to value. He value every inch. Reb Chatzkel says in the next world, every mashu that you do is so precious in Shemayim. You eat that latkes. And you respect every bite. Don't make a joke out of it. What type of achila? Stop that. What type of achila? Es gesund to hate. And thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu for that healthy appetite instead of worrying about how your belly looks. You worry the weight that kills everybody. The weight kills. Don't worry. Thank Hashem that you have an appetite. You have to thank a lot. Anyway, so you have to really be machshav. Being machshav, it's a Rabbanan Dika Yom Tov. Chanukah is Rabbanan. And Rabbanan means mankind. The Mizbeach, Chanukah is a Mizbeach. It's Mokum Kaparasa Univra. That's where Adam Rishon was created, right at that Mizbeach. The Adam, and Dr. Rabina Hirsch, the Mizbeach goes up to show the Adam goes up from the ground. And you go, I'm going to steig, and the Eibishter wants the Adam to be great. He wants him to step in and be a big shot. There's a ma'aseh with David HaMelech that the Gevanim lost their parnasa because of Shalom Melech. So they wanted, David said, I'll give you money. And there was a rov, a whole famine. I'll give you money. They said, no, we want blood. That's why you can't marry Gevanim, even if they come Jewish. So we want blood. Okay, he had to give a whole bunch of children Einiklach of Shalom Melech. So all the children of Shalom Melech had to stand in front of the Urim V'Tumim, and if it was Kailit, that person, he froze in his, whatever that means, the Urim V'Tumim, that's the Eibishter, telling you he's supposed to be. They hung him. They hung how many? 8 of his descendants of Shalom Melech, because the Revanim had to get the revenge and shame. So one of them, David liked him. Mifri Vaishis, he was a Ben Torah, and he was his best friend Yonason's son, and he owed Yonason a favor, and they were best friends. He says, I don't want him. So you know what he did? I want him alive. He davened, don't let that be Kailit. You're mixing with the Eibishter. The Urim V'Tumim knows what's good and what's not good. You're mixing in because you owe a favor to Yonason. What are you mixing in? Because the Adam is supposed to do that. Well, the mind lava is Adama. You can't, no rain until you daven. What's the bris milah for? You don't like the Eibishter's job? And bris milah, biggest mitzvah, to go against the Eibishter. No, we're going to do it right. Like the Eibishter did wrong. What's going on here? The turn is full of, what do you say with the Mama Leah? Where Yitzchak Avinu, the God of the Paskin Leah, Esav. You mavatli das. How do you go again? Then Yaakov also agreed with his father. Leah Esav, and Shemayim, that was it. And Leah says, no. I'm going to daven, I'm getting Yaakov. I don't care what anybody says. And there's so many chazals in this direction. What do you do with Chizkiah Melech? Well, Chizkiah Melech is half dead, and he's told, Chizkiah Melech is half dead, and the Navi tells him, you're going to die. It's a Gezerim in a Shemayim. I was just up there. I know everything that's going on. It's over. They paskin, the Eibush himself, you're dead. So when he heard that, Chizkiah Melech turned around and he said to he had tremendous respect for Nevi'im. Malchus based David, I think the Aruch HaShulchan mentions it, they were known, even the Rishayim Shebahem, a Navi. Achaz once had to see a Navi, nobody's going to give him Musa. So he didn't want to look in his face because he was embarrassed. And he took a laundry basket and stuff. They met there in the laundry somewhere, and he put it over his face because he was embarrassed to look at the Navi. It's brought down that Shevet, Yehuda, David HaMelech, Einiklach, respect for a Navi. Respect the Murdik and that Machnia. That's why halacha. You're allowed to be done. You're allowed to be done, David HaMelech, a king, if he's from David. Am I right? You weren't Sanhedrin, the second pair of Sanhedrin, you're allowed to be done if he comes from David. The other kings, don't you dare. He started with a king, he'll kill you. But there'll be Machnia to go along with. Anyway. So he hears that. What? You're telling me that Avis is going to kill me because I did this Averi that? So he calls him not by his name, which is a Bazayan to a Navi. Ben Omoitz! Kaleinu Mosecha, but say! Stop your war and get out of here. Wow. That's the way he talks. Chizkiah Melech, the biggest tzaddik. I have a Kabbalah, I have Bטחון, knocks the whole world away. Anyway, the Eibishter wants you to be a Cheverman, to fight. He wants you to fight and fill it, even though. But it's been a Shemayim, but I did Averis, and I deserve it. But it's happening to everybody. You fight. Hashem loves that. Nitzchuni Banai. Nitzchuni Banai. Eibishter likes that. The last thing in the Torah says over there by Moshe Rabbeinu, it says that the Yashi Kachacham Sheshibatim, the last Rashi in the whole Torah, is the last temple of the greatest man that ever lived. And it was his own idea to smash the Luchais. And the Eibishter was maskim. You did good. I'm maskim to you. A man is supposed to be a chelik. He is a chelik kamimal. He's supposed to be. Now that's Chanukah's or Rabbanon. It's us. We created our own Yom Tov. Anyway, I just want to say something over here. You got a big shot in Chanukah. You decide how valuable Chanukah is. You decide, can Chanukah bring you Yeshuas? We go extravaganza, or the kids got to go. Kavanah, everything good with the neighbors and the mitzvahs, the latkes. Or you could make Chanukah Kodesh Kadoshim. It's a time of nisim. There's hashpah of nisim going on at each individual. You're an Adam. You're the Ramon over here. They created their own Chag. You create your own Chanukah. How much do you hold that Chanukah to do? It'll do for you. Now I tried, and I became last year big. Last year I needed $14,000 to pay for all my weeklies and whatever, my kedelim, and I was going to sugar. So I called up a Makubal, a big Makubal. What do I do? He said, you spend the whole Chanukah not worrying. Forget about Bטחון. And just don't worry. And you know the Beis HaLevi started when he talks about Bטחון, the first thing he says is, Ched HaSadah, not worrying it. He says, Pachad is an Aveira. It's the Pachad. Just don't worry. Don't be such about Bטחון. But don't worry. Keep worry out of your head. And he said, stop fantasizing Yeshuas. And Bekitza. Zois Chanukah, 14,000 G's. Rabashkin, Zois Chanukah. You believe in it? It works. We have to work on believing every minute of Chanukah. It's time of Nisim. It's an Eis and you be a Tomim, sit alone. People distract you from it. Sit there, learn a lot of Musa. You'll see big life. Anyway, I want to get to about the Novandige with their Olam Hazard, with their how they a king. The Alta brings a story where a king was offered a beautiful golden table, and he asked the Pekach, should I take this table? Pekach said, don't take it. Don't take the table. He took the table anyway, and as soon as he got the table, he decided, let's have some fun. He sat on a boat, and he sat with that table, and in the middle, suddenly a wave came, and the table slid off the boat, into the water, gone forever, and the king had a nervous breakdown. So he said to Bikar, said, you see, you're going to run, the Olam Haz is going to, if you're living off covered, you need those telephone calls. You need, someday it's going to get you. Reb Gershon used to tell me this. He said, where's your simcha coming from? It's good to be simcha, but don't count. Rabbi Aaron Feldman told me this. He said, if you don't have a part of you that's not interested in anything what people think, you're lost. He told this to me. If you're counting, your whole life is everyone's opinion about this and that. When the day you don't get it, you're dead. You're going to get depressed. I once went collecting with another girl, and suddenly the lady comes over, of the guy that we're collecting, and she cries her heart out. Her husband, after so many years, they would vaza him after working so many years, and they messed him up. So you live your life where you're semech on that gold table. Got to get that gold table. Your wife and your kids is a gold table too. You know that? Your whole life it's gold table. I got this. That's why Novhardok used to put keiches in hefkedus. Reb Ozi used to tell me. He told me during He used to tell me that on El Avodas El no it's kashrus for Olam Hazeh. You know his rabbit said she's broken. She just lost him very suddenly, but her simcha level is not normal. She's the same person. It's not normal. She is a real Novhardok. I call her up, and she tells me like she's one of them. One of her sons went to her, Ima Shalanu. He Navadakai 100%. He Mishalano. She's not a Yidana. A Yidana is a hush of a thing. Don't make her wait. But she's one of the boys. She has the Shita. I saw another one. When they lost their kid, Chaim Halperin, he was sitting in a car together with his son, the father of 7 kids, whatever. And suddenly, boom, he was nifta. So it was a very big tragedy. Anyway, I saw them, the father and mother. The mother was at the B'shas Levaya. She cried, she was whatever. And right afterwards, she was great. She was Chaim Halperin's Rebbetzin. She was going him for sure. You live with the Eibushter, you don't tie down to, I need my latke made this way. You made it wrong. I can't eat that. That's not right. It's Hanukkah. You're supposed to be b'simcha. You don't make a latke like this. In Novhardok, they would dafka make it like this. Because in Novhardok, they looked for that. They would look. Their whole religion was built around how do we papat olam hazeh. And they let's see what you could wear. They sticked around. I mean, they to keep themselves aloof from the whole, they chopped. You see the telephone, you become addicted to it, you're dead. Your mom is dead. And today, no calls. You're used to your calls, you're used to your, you have a big shul, the Rav, and suddenly half the Elam had to move, and then he's half dead. Everything's like that. You're tied down to a relationship. He's my friend. One day your friend's not so the way it used to be. You're dead. You can't be tied down to anything except the Eibishter. You have to develop a relationship with the Eibishter. I once met a woman. One of the meisters in Lakewood is named after her. She was an altar amona, and she lived in Crown Heights, and one of these crazy places. She told me she was surrounded by Schwarzes, and she told me she does not feel alone. She feels the Rebbeinu Shalom. She doesn't feel. You have to develop a relationship with Hashem. Sit there. The best part of Hanukkah or anything, sit alone with the Tata. By the way, Rav Weinkrantz's yard site is on Hanukkah, and I heard he once said, "What's Hanukkah by Novhardok? Kabbalah, no kas for 8 days. That's Hanukkah. You want to know what real Hanukkah is? No kas. How about you got to learn that? No kas for 8 days. That's a great idea. That's Hanukkah. By the way, that's what Pesach is all about. And that's what Sukkot is all about. That's what everything's all about. That's why they're the happiest people in the world. Because they know You could make the most geschmack Yom Tov in the world. But when your midas get caught in, you messed up. We had such a beautiful Seder. And Zaidi was so proud of Getzel. And Getzel got up with his little short pants and a long payalach, and his tzitzis hanging out, smiling with his best smile, and mommy's all excited that Zaidi should see. Man, Ishtan with his cute, squeaky voice, and Zaidi and Bubby liked it, and Zaidi, and suddenly, boom, Getzel's other side. There's two sides to Getzel. Suddenly, Getzel's other side, Getzel gets it. Getzel doesn't get along with Chayla. That's an old problem. And suddenly Getzel takes the wine and sends it flying at Chayla. My whole Yom Tov was ruined. We had it, and the wine's all over the place, So you're tied down to your clothes, so you're dead because you're tied down to the impression you're giving the Zayd and the Baba or the cousin or the uncle, whoever's sitting there. So you're tied down to all their opinions. That's your golden table. You're tied down to all these things, and when you lose it, you're dead. And you're tied down to having as a uncle Chaseda doing it right, and he messes up. And you're tied down to your children that they have to be the way you want them to be. That's also, what do you care? You have a chiyuv to take care of them. You have to go out of your way. You have to go do anything for them. But deep down, they're not your chiyuv. I'm telling you, you are your chiyuv, but it's your chiyuv to do the best you can. I can't. After that, it's all my yomeru abriyas. He's not having a slacha with his kids. Look at his kids. So he's probably also like so-so. Or he don't know how to chanuk them. Or something wrong in that house. Something. And you're all worried. What do people say? My yomeru abriyas is my house this, my house that. Now the Vardigas would love that. They say, oh, that's exactly what I want you to say. My house is a mess. That's I love it. Say whatever you want. Your opinion means nothing to me. My yomeru abriyas, what do I care? Anyway, so you're tied down to Olam Hazeh, and the Vardigas worked hard. How do we get out of this? Because it's a never-ending, bottomless pit. It's my maluchim, zok the Alta. My maluchim. It's you're drinking salty water. You never Olam Hazeh. It doesn't work. It's not a working system. If you have Olam Hazeh, forget it. Especially with goyim. If you're not looking good, you're dead. It's over. You know how much stress a guy has? He has to look good. I am myself. Where do you have to? You have to look good. And you have to be able to smile and personality. A yid has to be an Oved Hashem. What is he? People kill your life. So the Navardicas know how to be monatic themselves. They knew the fine points, how to work on this and that, and they walked around like I heard once a Navardicus spoke at one of these functions over there, and I heard he was Lebanon. The guys walked in, and all kinds of weird things happened. They know each other. When one sits there and he falls asleep in the middle of the drasha, I don't know the cheshbaitis, but he did. Well, now the guy gets up, half the guys leave, and half the guys. And the guy that gave the drasha, what kind of hat was he wearing? By them, it's a game. Everything's a game. How are we gonna? I was once sitting, rebellious stands was once at one of these shavuot, whatever, kiddish, whatever. He sits down, there's a lot of food. The Sfardim will have a lot of dips, and he gives a zugs. Oi! Yesh po kol kach pratim mikol hatzdadim. Go to eat a pickle in front of everybody. Give me some more stops. They pratim, yesh pratim. They say, L'chaim told the guys that you don't know and you're afraid of. It's a whole, there's a lot. They have fun. The Nevadis, everything's a game. Go to a chasana. One guy's not dancing in the middle because he got too much covered for that. He's out of it. They think that he can't dance. He can dance better than anybody, but he's up to a different stage. So another guy's always going in the middle and he can't dance to save his life. And he's there to show, to break his fear of people. So you're not such the best dancer. So what? And he comes back, they give him a pat on the shoulder. You danced, even though you're not good at dancing, you popped on the belt. That's how they became happy people. And each person had a different job to do. Like they knew each other. They said, okay, you're up to a stage where it's time for you to start respecting that guy that you're always jealous of. We'll start going to his shiurim and set up front. I saw this with my own eyes. There are two brothers, very close in age, big Avdim, big tzaddikim, not stam, one of the biggest. One of them was very talented, and the other one was so-so. Not so-so. He simply was not. In being an Ovid and being a Talmid Chacham, he was great. But the brother used to get up when he used to say grammar, and he used to sing, and had a beautiful voice, and he was machadish, and the Elam adored him, and his mother went wild over him. And this brother was background music. So I saw this with my own eyes. The brother took one of these things over here, right? And whenever his brother spoke, I got to tape that. Hatov b'mokom akpodeh. That makes you happy. It makes you free. I don't need this old kind of business. Leiv shesamach b'dulas ochid. Oh, now I want to be an Aaron. There's a golden opportunity. They lived in this. And after a while, they're like, different kind of people. That's the shita. Anyway, Ebzal Homer of Weinkrantz' yard site is coming up.
Which day?
I have to find out. It's in Hanukkah. And we want to do something. Weinkrantz. There's pictures over there right behind you. I think it's, there it is. Yeah, bring it up. Yeah, that's it. That's from Weinkrantz. He was a Rosh Hashanah. This man had Ruach HaKodesh by the miles. You know what he used to do? Rav Chaim Mordechai Weinkrantz, he used to, you know what he said? His kitchen had the Shechina. Rabbi say, I've been everywhere and anywhere. See the Shalit, the Musanikas, Lamdim, all of them. I've been everywhere. Ask anybody. His kitchen had the Shechina. Whoever went there, all the kids know it, all my friends, I used to bring the Chabura from Lakewood down there, they felt something's going on here. This man was Kodesh Kodashim. He used to, first of all, he'd take a picture. He wanted to know if you do a shidduch, there's something wrong with the yichus. So he would, show me, you want to know if you should do the shidduch with so-and-so? Bring me a picture of him. He'd take one look at him, he says, he's fine, do the shidduch. Other times he'd say, don't get near this, you'll be divorced in 2 weeks. He used to say this Keseda. You remember? He knew everything. I had my own, one of my daughters, I was a little shaky about it. He asked one question, how he knew Adayim. He asked my daughter one question, she saw it's not the heart. He knew right away. He didn't see the boy, nothing. He was a big Baruch HaKodesh, not stop. And he was a Baki B'Shas, everything. He was a Goyin and a Tzaddik, and there's no words to describe him. He was the head of the Novandigas, and he's what? He was not Bezin, yeah. Whenever they had Tamar Godel, they couldn't figure something out, and in Teva it wasn't working, he already knew. He knew. They told me, the Bezdin told me this about him. He was up there. He knew everything. And he, the Zaltz Nevadi. Now he used to say, when you want to talk, don't. When you don't want to talk, do. He was famous for that. And he would, do you know who else was famous for that? There was one other place that I saw that's diamond to him. His Madrigal, just forget about it. I mean, you felt it. There was one place, one person, I for sure felt something there. I'll tell you who it was. Rabbi Yaakov Edelstein. That's how I felt something there. He wasn't, nowhere else. I felt something's going on. And sure enough, I did some research. And I found that he was such a person, always going against what he wanted to do. You know, if we had a chabura that sits on this all day long, this is what all we talk about. How could I do what I don't want to do? Now, you're living in a world where everybody runs after whatever they like. And if they don't like it, they don't do it. And that's all. I'm not davening in a place where I get business, where nobody holds for me. Oh no, I'm out of place. Don't do that. Now, I don't recommend anybody doing Novandiga things unless you're part of a group that believes in this stuff and they like it, they hold from it, they learn a lot of Musa. Like Madregas Adam, it screams, this is the only way to be happy, by learning not to do what you want to do, by accepting things. The kid that's bothering you will be, you learn how to deal, not to get in chaos. This is my life. What do the Novandigas do when they get together? They don't just, was that some mit the Kinder? Was that some mit Panusa? You're killing them. I do it too, don't worry. That's what you're supposed to be a mensch, no. In their own society, how's your caste issue? That's all. Come on, don't give me if your wife bathing or not. How's your caste issue? How's the, you still kinder with so-and-so? Did you take care of it? Your whole life is you meet this. And these are the happiest people in the world. It's all they talk about. When they bump into each other, I saw letters that the Novandigas wrote each other. They were so worried. One of them went to Eretz Yisrael, and he says, what's going to be with the Vadim? Are you still holding up? You're still learning Musa? You got to see those letters. They loved each other. The Abbas Chaverim that they had, the concern is not Shaykh. You see in the letters, the way they're so worried about how you're doing. What you had a big problem with, let's say, Kenna, yeah? He says, is it getting better? I mean, that's your life. Today, when I speak to people, I have to introduce them. I just spoke to somebody with terrible shalom bayis problems. I say, by the way, do you have a caste issue? Oh, yes. No. You're not getting nowhere. It's not your wife, it's you. And the ladies, it's hard to tell this to people, but that's work on your own midas and everything falls into place. And who cares if the person's a nice person. I have to do mine. Working on midas, a Hanukkah gift. You know what? I know in Novandiga, my Rabbi Schwartz, his kids told me that for Shlachmana's presents, guess what they used to get? He told me, Eitzel achavedim zaya purim. Etzlenu zaya tisha b'av. They used to get letters from the father, together with Shlachmanas. Okay, I'm noticing lately you don't come in time to minyan. I'm noticing you're learning, no. You're not learning enough Musa. Let him have it, his kids. Imagine, that's the way you raise kids. Now, I don't recommend that, by the way. That, I would send it different. For our door, you're gewaldig here, you're gewaldig there. We lay it on thick. You know, and this dirt is not good at accepting compliments. They don't, you don't mean it today. You say that to everybody, it's nothing, it's cheap. It's nothing, it doesn't mean anything. You should know, I met a Chavod. Rav Hutner used to over-compliment. He was heavy, slabot. Novandiga also complimented, don't ask. But the boys, once you became one of them, then they treated you differently. It was a status symbol. Once they started knocking you, now you're one of the chevra. Now there's somebody home. Yeah, you're still with that. You still didn't, after all these years, what's going to be with you? Yeah, I used to hear Galinsky make fun of himself. He spoke about his learning. He says, he told this Barab, he says, Rav Shach, I think it was, told Rav Shach, or somebody who was friendly with him, B'nai Brak, when the Gracie Eden, he said, I wish I could get rid of all my, collecting and just sit down and learn 3 stories a day. He told me, du gehst noch lernen, an nächtigen Tag, du hast nicht kein Scheiches mit lernen, bist da battlen. He told it over. Was hast du mit lernen today? He spoke about one of his kids. He says, I'm a darn, nicht gefällig, I'm a darn, this one, nicht to lernen, no, I'm going to my kitchen, but nicht to lernen. He laughed. In the world, never. My son never became what I wanted him to be. Disappointment. You're so busy with your COVID. That's the Novanto, you smell the rat. Don't dare come. What I want to be. You're afraid about your COVID. What's people gonna say? Because your son's friend, your friend's son is the Rosh Chabura, and your son's the Dos. That's what's really bothering you. Cannot die for COVID. Metzias all the Manoilam. But you're kvetching Nabach this and Nabach that. And I went through so much, and my wife is still not behaving herself. Whatever it is. I mean, it's all they see through all the stuff. Did I speak enough? Sure. I'm over time. Thank you for all your patience. Oh,